Hey everyone, Todd here. So there's a few things that I saw in the lit reviews that I wanted to address it to the whole group before you submit your CPT6 assignments. So hopefully this feedback will help make you guys a little bit more successful in the papers you're submitting. So first, let's go to what I'm doing is I'm looking at our assignments section of our course, and I'm scrolling down to the assignment. So one of the first things is check these attached files. Excuse me. So these are past CPT6 assignments that people have gotten A's on. So go ahead, download these, look through these. We're going to look at them in just a second here, but I also want you guys to select the link right here and look at this where it says View Rubric. So this gives you an idea of what CityU is looking for. Primarily what I'm usually looking for is over here the exceed standard and also the at standard. So just make sure you're going through these and addressing these in your paper as you're writing. Some of the things to be aware of is right here where it's saying at standard is three sources, citation, reference, APA demonstrated. So CDU wants to make sure that you're using APA correctly on the paper. So that's some of the stuff I want to address in this video. But please go through the rubric, check that out. Um, some of the stuff right here at standard plus represents the issue in a compelling manner with particular clarity and insight, identifies possible strategies for principal program administrators, influence that advance the community conversation. So that's one of the big pieces I'm looking for also is that you provide those next steps. What do you recommend next for administrators around this issue that you've looked at and analyzed? All right, so once again, please just go through the rubric, check that, make sure that you're hitting all the different pieces of the rubric. Let's get out here. So I downloaded one of the papers already. Here, we'll just go back here. So I clicked on this one, CPT6 Boyer. We'll take a look at that right now. I'm just going to point out some of the things in this paper that make it a good paper and some things that I look for as I'm grading. So first is we've got a cover page here. Everything when you're writing APA should be double spaced. So make sure you just select everything in your paper. You can do a Control A, whatever. Right click on it, go to paragraph, and you can just hit line spacing right here and make sure double selected. So that's the first thing. Make sure everything's double spaced. You have an abstract, so this is giving a short summary of what the issue is that you're going to be discussing. And then make sure that your sections are clearly labeled. A lot of times students don't clearly label the section, so it's hard as far as being the reader to try and understand what section you're in or what they're talking about. So when the sections are labeled, it just makes it very clear to follow. Also, as far as your topics, it's common for students to have a bunch of topics running through their head. And so when it comes time to writing the paper, these topics, it's hard for them to settle on just one idea or one main topic. And I recommend that you do come up with that one main topic that you carry throughout your paper instead of having multiple topics. Often I see multiple topics weaved in and out, and it makes it really confusing as far as the reader to try and understand where the reader is going with this or which topic they're talking about at what time. So please just make sure you really distill it down to one main topic, and that's going to be the theme of your paper. And then you're going to do your analysis on that topic, and you're going to be providing next steps and recommendations on that topic. So definitely try and boil it down to just one simple main idea. All right, so we've got the headers for the sections right here. It's clear they're talking about the problem. Also, look at when you're citing work. So right here, we see an example of how the work's been cited. So we've got the author's name right here, and then we have the year of the publication. So you want to make sure you include that when you're first referencing some work that you've taken from some other place, that you're using someone else's findings or their work, you want to make sure to cite that source. And you do it the first time that you mention it. You want to make sure that you're including the author's name and that you're including the year. So in this case, they're using the author's name in the sentence here, but if they weren't calling the name out specifically in the sentence, it would be here in the parentheses. You'd put the author's name, comma, and then the year. So it would look like this, and then comma and year. And so that's if they're not calling the name out directly in the sentence. But just want to make sure that you're using the author's name and the year of the publication. And the reason is that we should be able to look at this citation and go to the very end to the references page and see what that work was. So right here we can refer to it here. We know, all right, this is the name of the article. This was the journal it was in. So if we wanted to go in and see the actual research for ourselves and to verify that, we'd be able to use that cited work in the reference page here to be able to find that. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be checking that. I'm going to be checking that you're citing work correctly. And then the last bit is that you have a reference page. So different teachers are more sticklers or not about APA. As far as official APA, the references page, it should be called references, specifically references, and not works cited. The references, it should be centered on its own page. So you want to make sure that you have a page break so that it's not flowing from one page onto the next. It should be a page break with its own page. It should say references up at the top. And then you want to make sure that each reference that you have has a hanging indent. And the way you do that is you select your reference, and at least on a PC, you would right click, you'd go to paragraph, and you can see that its hanging is selected under indentation where it says special. If it wasn't, it would just look like that. So to add the hanging indent, highlight it, go to paragraph, under indentation, special, select hanging, make sure it's at 0.5, and say OK. And that's how you do a hanging indent. You also want to make sure, as with everything else in your paper, that everything's double spaced. And you just want to have those hanging indents for each one. Another thing, you want to make sure that you're using the initial of their first name, not the full first name. So always just the initial. So I saw that in a few of the lit reviews. Making sure that you have the year of the article when you can find that. Yeah, and just making sure everything's indented. So that is everything that I have as far as the things I'm going to be looking for and things you should be checking before you submit your paper. It'll save time in the end. What I typically do is if there are APA issues, I'll let you fix those issues and resubmit the paper to get credit. But it'll definitely save us time if ahead of time, if the first time you submit it, if you can try and hit those items that we just covered. All right, I think that's it. And then just as far as submitting the paper, where you're going to do that is you're going to go into the assignments section of the course. Go up here. So you're going to go to assignments. You're going to go down to CPT6 assignment right here. I'm going to select that. And you're going to go down here. It's just like attaching an attachment to an email. You're going to browse your computer for where you have that paper written in Word, and then submit that, and then you can put any comments here. If you have any problems submitting through Blackboard, please make sure to email it to me at m as in Michael, t as in Todd, stone at cdu.edu. Also, when you're submitting it through Blackboard here, make sure that you hit the submit button down here, not the save draft. What the save draft does is it will let you save it there, but it won't submit it to me, so I won't see it. So you can come back at a later time and then hit submit. It'll send it to me. But make sure that if you're wanting me to see it, that you hit the submit button here. All right, that's all. I hope this has helped. All right, please make sure to ask any questions in the question and answer forum if you have any, and definitely feel free to email me directly. The forum will probably get a quicker response. There's been a bunch of questions, so the emails are a little slow to respond to, but the forum is quicker, and then all you guys can see the response. All right, hope everyone's doing well. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.